Hello, and welcome to Real Reviews. My name is Jameson Rabbit, and joining me today is a man who has never once used a coaster for his drink. His name is Mike Roth.
How's it going?
It's going.
Yeah, I find coasters to be kind of bothersome.
Really?
Now, at my house, it's okay, but at your house, definitely, I do not like coasters. Anywhere, top of the roof of your car, your china, everything.
Crazy.
It's good stuff.
If you could only see the desk we have, just rings everywhere because of it. It's crazy. And unfortunately, I'm on your side today. There's rings all over this side.
Yeah.
We're trying something different today. It's weird. I don't even know which camera to look at. Hello there, friends.
Hello, America.
So here we are. We have a bunch of movies to talk about this week.
Yeah.
And I'm actually really excited to talk about these movies.
We do have a bunch of them, so we probably should jump right in.
All right, what's on the marquee, Mike? What do you have first?
Right off the bat, we have When the Bough Breaks. This is directed by John Casser, I believe. Casser. If you phonetically want to correct me, go ahead. What we have here is Morris Chestnut. He plays John Taylor, and his wife, Laura Taylor, played by Regina Hall. They're both a professional couple, and Regina is having a hard time getting pregnant. And so they go for a surrogate. They find what seemingly seems to be the perfect person with Anna Walsh, played by Jazz Sinclair. They get together. Anna, she has problems with her boyfriend, and they decide to move her into the house so that she could have a comfortable, safe life for their baby. Things go along, and they find out that Anna's not quite the person she seems to be. Even though she's cute and nice and bubbly, she's also very, let's say, possessive, and she gets obsessed over older men, which Chestnut happens to be, and things get kind of dangerous.
This is true.
What did you think of this movie?
Okay, it's. I thought that Anna was really good as the sweet and innocent girl. That throughout a large chunk of the movie, she's the sweet and innocent. You think, oh, it's happily ever after.
Yeah.
She's gonna have the baby. Everyone's happy. She's living there. Her boyfriend, played by Theo Rossi, bad dude.
Yep.
He's out of the picture for a while. Life is good, and then the movie just started to become filled with cliches of every cliche that is in this genre of movie.
Yeah.
The hand that rocks the cradle genre. Of course, the husband, he's going to make partner at the firm. That seems to always be thrown in. The wife is conveniently gone off on a business trip for a few days, leaving him and her alone. So many things. The boyfriend who comes back for no reason and has Theo Rossi's character has zero motivation for how he acts the way he acts.
There is really no surprises. This is supposed to be like a suspenseful movie, but like you said, everything's a cliche. Part of the cliche is it's been done over and over again. So every time you saw something, you're like, well, that's going to come up later. Oh, that's going to come up later. That's going to happen. And all the way to the end, it was very predictable. I think the acting was really well done. I think Morris Chestnut and Regina Hall did a great job. I think Jazz Sinclair, she was on and off. Sometimes she was great. And then other times she was not unintentionally funny.
Yeah.
Running around with a knife in her hand, and you just want to giggle a little bit.
It was really weird. So, I mean, her boyfriend, Theo Rossi, comes in and tells her, like, hey, let's use these people to get money out of them. And then the response is she just starts seducing, instantly just starts trying to seduce John, but that's not the plan.
No.
But she really weirdly, it's like every time her character made a turn in attitude, it was just laughable. There was zero intensity in this movie, zero tension, and so I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, of course, now she's gonna do that.
Really, her boyfriend Theo Rossi or Mike Mitchell, he was absolutely kind of pointless to the story.
He felt like he was a character from a different movie that wandered onto this set.
Yeah,
and they're like, hey guys, and same with Michael K. Williams, who was John's buddy, the guy who could get information.
Yeah.
He was basically just the guy who can give you a lot of the quick lowdown on Anna. Like, okay, now it's time to tell us about her past. Bring him in.
The one thing I thought was funny about this movie, there was a lot of incidences where you feel like this is the part where you're like, don't go in there!
Yeah.
Or I almost could hear it, even though no one else was really in the theater. I could almost hear someone else doing that, just, no, don't do that kind of thing. It's like, well, yeah, they're going to do it because that's part of the cliche.
Yeah.
It's been done in all these other movies, so of course this person's going to do the stupid thing also.
Obviously. And so, because of all that, I ended up giving the movie 1.5 out of 5 stars.
Really?
I was really bored with this movie. I'd rather watch a better version of this, which would be most other versions of this.
Yeah, there is a lot of versions of this movie. I kind of reviewed it as what happened if you've never seen any other movie that's kind of like this. You were, let's say...
there's no tension, though. It's a thriller without a thrill.
I think the acting was good, and I liked the sets. I think they had a great house. They had a great beach
Beautiful house, yeah.
Of course, beach house is also a common thread in a lot of these type of movies. The acting was decent, but because I've seen this movie many, many, many times before, I gave it a 2.5. I thought it's watchable.
Mm-hmm. Poor Morris Chestnut. This is back-to-back movies where he's been involved in a possible love triangle where things turn bad.
Yeah.
He needs to straighten his stuff out.
I believe he's produced this, so I think he wants...
Oh, he brought it on himself.
Yeah, he brought this onto himself.
Then I don't feel bad for him.
This is the character he wants to be.
I don't feel bad for him then. The next movie we have on the marquee is a movie called The Disappointments Room. The Disappointments Room from director DJ Caruso stars Kate Beckinsale as a lady named Dana. Dana and her husband David, played by Mel Rado, move into this house way out in the middle of nowhere, this old fixer-upper house, move out into this little town, and immediately she starts seeing things. She starts seeing specters. She starts being haunted by something, a presence that is in this house. And we come to find out that they are moving out here. They just recently lost a baby at some point, and she is still struggling with that. You have a ghost played by the great Gerald McRaney, who keeps showing up as this old-timey specter. And Kate Beckinsale slips in and out of sanity, and no one is quite sure what's going on with her because her character... Her and her husband do not communicate at all, so she never says anything to him about what she's seeing until it's far too late in the movie. They've also got a son who is... He looks like they were trying to recast Danny from The Shining. They gave him the haircut.
Yeah.
There was even one scene where he's running down a hallway and sees a little girl.
He had a speech impediment, too.
Yeah, he was just there. And then, for some reason during this movie, they introduced a possible tryst for her. They bring in a neighbor boy who's constantly hitting on her, played by Lucas Till.
Yeah.
And that paid off in no way at all.
No, that was actually one of the more confusing parts of this movie.
So what's going on? Where's this going to pay off with this kid?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not? Okay, good. And, and so we find out that the disappointment room is this room in the house where long ago, people, when they had children with deformities, they would lock them in this room to save themselves from public embarrassment of having a kid who wasn't normal. And so, of course, that's going to cause some hauntings.
I got one in my house for myself.
Do you?
Yeah.
You lock yourself away? What did you... We've joked leading up to this about the title of this film.
It's funny.
What did you think of Disappointments Room?
Tell you what, I think what they did was they found a great-looking house, a great-looking location, and said, we have to make a horror movie. Yeah. That's what I felt, because everything else just kind of fell through. The acting was poor. Kate Beckinsale... she had one pretty much emotion through the whole thing. Her character was not written very well. In the beginning, she is the toughest person you'll ever meet. And I thought that's what's actually pretty cool. You had the role reversal where it's the female of the house.
I'm the architect.
Yeah, I'm the architect. I'm the breadwinner. And you had Teddy, who was like, I just like to sit around and play Xbox. I don't know if that was true or not. They didn't really dive into his character. But Kate, I'll call her Dana, she came off as really tough. And I was thinking, well, this is a cool situation. You had a situation where she opens up this wardrobe, bats are flying at her, and she's just like, whatever, I'm going to keep on doing this thing. And then later on, she just did a 360, and I couldn't
180.
quite... Or 180. Yeah, 180, and I totally did not see that coming.
I absolutely agree. That was one of my biggest things with this movie is that she suddenly was the weak woman who was marginalized by everybody, who wouldn't speak up all of a sudden anymore, who was just a weak, frail girl. Like, what? Who's this now? It wasn't, first off, it was bad writing for her.
Yeah.
And it wasn't who this character, who we were introduced to.
No, I like the original character, and then in the middle of a very odd time, is where you would not think she would lose control. All of a sudden, she lost control without any warning to the audience.
I kind of liked that when she snapped.
Yeah?
I kind of liked it because I'd seen her
She
being
had emotion?
weak. I'd seen her being weak and monotonous for an hour. And finally, she just snaps and blows it.
Yeah.
And she blows up at her husband because that man is not a good actor.
No.
He's really, really
He's
bad.
a really bad actor and probably the least in tune with his wife.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's what I say, there's
this
no
happened on a day
communication.
he should have really known. Yeah, maybe you should just lay low. I won't have a dinner party or anything.
And much like when the Bough Breaks, this movie hit a ton of cliches. Of course, the husband has to go out of town for a few days, leaving her at home with this crazy specter. You also have, luckily for them, in this town of about 7 people, there's an old lady who happens to know everything about the supernatural.
I was going to bring that up.
And this house in particular, and she can give you 10 minutes of exposition about everything that's happened.
See, I never heard of the disappointment room.
Well,
at
no,
all.
this lady knows, though.
And apparently, the first person you ask in this small town, they know it right away.
And your house has one too. I know all about it.
Yep, that was weird. And that lady was also a very poor actor.
Yeah.
She sounded very wooden, like they just picked her up off the street because she happened to be short. And they wanted to get someone that had that poltergeist type
And that's
feel.
exactly what it was, right? It was a lady from Poltergeist. Like,
Yep.
we want to recapture that.
Yeah. And another thing, like this lady, like I mentioned, she was really tough. She had that little situation where she had a horrible nightmare. So the first thing, what do? Is you walk out into the creepy forest all by yourself so you could have a smoke.
Well, not only that, sir, but she is terrified for her son. She is seeing these things. Of course, she won't say anything to her husband, to her kid, or anything. She internalizes all of it. There's one point where she witnesses her son be torn apart by a dog. In her mind, this is what she sees. She runs down to grab him. She finds out that it's not him, but she's still terrified for him. He's playing in the woods. Seconds later, she tells him, why don't you go over there, and sends him off into the woods by himself while she goes to look for a cat.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
Personally, my favorite character out of the cast, and it's not a huge cast, it was Lucas Till, who is absolutely a non-character. He came in, you thought he was going to be important, and you're like, oh, I'm interested in this character, and literally, you have no idea what happened to him. At the end of the movie, you're like, what happened to Ben?
Like they forgot. Like he didn't show up on set, and they're like, well, I guess we just don't finish writing his character.
They did show what could have happened to him, but we are never made sure as an audience if that's what happened to him.
No idea.
I was thinking maybe that's the director's plot was to try to confuse us so we could feel a little bit like Dana.
And DJ Caruso as a director is very up and down. He's had some good movies. He's had some real stinkers. This movie was written by Wentworth Miller, you know him from Prison Break and other things. Yeah, it's not a well-written movie.
No.
It's really rough. And you have one of the things that I really didn't like about this movie is, and it's a personal thing for me, there's a lot of violence against kids in the final act of this movie. There's a lot of, see a lot of violence against kids.
Yeah.
And I have a rough time with that when you show it to me and it doesn't particularly pay off. Not only that, but between this movie and When the Bough Breaks and The Light Between Oceans, there's been a lot of dead babies in the last week. I've had my fill, guys.
You're all done?
I'm done with the dead babies. Can we move on from that? And so this movie just kept falling for me as I'm going through, like, what are we doing? Where are we going?
Now, what did you think of the house? I know this is totally...
House looked good. Cool door.
Cool door. I love the stairs.
Nice wood-paneled floors. Beautiful.
The house, to me, felt like a character.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the rest of the characters couldn't live up to
Had
the
the
house.
most personality in the cast. Yeah. What did you ultimately give The Disappointments Room?
I gave it 2. I probably a little higher than what I should, since it feels like all I'd done was rag on it.
Sure.
I think it looked nice. For a horror film, a lot of them lately have been just putting a blue filter on things, washing out all the colors. I did like the visual look of this film.
Just get
everything
rid of everything
else
else.
just kind of failed. Tried again, same house.
Yeah, why not? I gave it another 1.5 out of 5. It's just not good.
Yeah.
It didn't work for me. So 1.5 out of 5 stars.
You were
for
very
me.
disappointed.
Hey, it writes its own review for me. Thank you very much. All right, what do we have next on the marquee?
We have. Sorry, I blanked out for a second. We have a little cartoon that was made by a a Belgian-French 3D company called The Wildlife. It kind of chronicles maybe a side story that wasn't written in the original book of Robinson Crusoe, which was, of course, first published in April of 1719. Everybody knows
don't
that.
say.
I didn't have to look at my notes or
How
anything.
about that?
So Robinson Crusoe, he crashes on this island, and he ends up befriending a bird named Mac, but he names it Tuesday. You know why? Because he doesn't speak animal. Robinson Crusoe can't speak animal. So he names this parrot Tuesday. Max, or Tuesdays, we'll just call him Tuesday from the rest of this review, his friends don't trust the human as much as what Tuesday does, so they're trying to sabotage him, and there's some wackiness, and a bunch of things go on. It's pretty much Robinson Crusoe trying to survive on the island with his animal friends.
But what's he trying to survive? Evil cats.
True, yeah.
Evil cats are the villain.
The evil cats come in and they cause a little mayhem. They almost they come pretty close to winning.
Yeah,
but
those darn cats.
Those darn cats. I'm just going to go into this right now. The
Please
voice
do.
acting is absolutely horrible.
Yeah,
this
really
reminds
bad.
me of the worst voice acting from the 80s, where you just want to slap some of these characters around for talking. Yeah. You had the two cats. I actually enjoyed the voice acting by, I believe...
Good on you. You're going to try this? I wouldn't.
Millie?
Sure,
something like
they're all
Millie.
French.
We're going to go with Millie. I enjoyed the voice acting. I enjoyed the animation. I think for 3D animation, this is the best 3D I've seen in such a long time. And the animation itself, even though frame rates were horrible and seemed to kind of cut out looking a little bit like a still frame animated movie, I think visually how they made these characters looked really cool. Right. But the voice acting was horrible. The story just felt like it ended. Just like, okay, you had enough? All right, we'll roll the credits. I didn't like that at all.
The story was like a C- level story with B+ effects. And if you watch it in 3D, the effects are going to be cool.
Yeah.
If you don't, this movie is a direct-to-bargain bin movie. Because if you're just watching it, if you think, I hear the effects are great in this movie, and you just go to see the standard 2D animated version, take the kid to it,
no.
You're going to be bored to tears with this movie. And it just, evil cats, bumbling Robinson Crusoe, none of it made me care about any of it. The story was lackluster.
I
was looking at my watch. I don't even wear a watch, but I kept looking for it.
Looking at your forearm.
I wanted to be anywhere else. Yeah, it was... I did not care for this movie.
No, I couldn't fathom watching this and enjoying it in 2D. I struggled in 3D. Great 3D effects, though. When the barrel comes around, the barrel is shooting out at you. A lot of 3D movies that are made, they're just ported over to a 3D format where you're actually looking in and things aren't jumping out at you anymore. And it feels kind of boring. You actually don't notice a 3D after a while in most 3D movies.
Yeah, this one they used it.
As far as 3D,
but it was really to really hide that they used all their efforts and creative ability in the 3D and none of it in the rest of the movie.
That's pretty much it. If you watch this movie, which I wouldn't suggest watching even in 3D, but if you do watch it, it's mainly so you could see some really cool 3D effects. Don't go for the story. Bring some earplugs.
Just watch it. Yeah, I gave it, again, 1.5 out of 5 stars. It feels very direct to the bargain bin to me.
I gave it 1.5, and a lot of this is probably swayed by how cool the 3D was.
Right. That's all my 1.5 is just in the 3D. That's where all the stars came from for me.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it is.
Sorry.
It is. The final movie we have on the marquee this week is the new movie from director Clint Eastwood. It is a biopic about an American hero. The man's name was Sully Sullenberger. The movie's name is Sully. It stars Tom Hanks as your title character. You probably know the story of Sully. He is the man who landed the plane on the Hudson River about 7 years ago.
Exactly, 7 years. Yeah.
And stars, as I said, Tom Hanks. You have Aaron Eckhart as his co-pilot, Jeff Skiles. Laura Linney as Sully's wife, Lorraine. And then you have a tribunal from the NTSB. You have Anna Gunn, you know her from Breaking Bad. You have Mike O'Malley, and you have Jamie Sheridan. These are 3 investigators who are investigating. A large chunk of this movie is the NTSB investigating the crash, the forced water landing, not a crash. And they almost seem happy that they're going to bust Sully for doing something and endangering lives when he could have landed on an airstrip like a regular airplane does.
Well, they have to be happy, because if they're not happy that Sully's busted, then it's going to be the aircraft, and then they're going to get sued a lot.
Right. And so they do kind of, especially Mike O'Malley's character does kind of come off as the villain in this movie, as it were. Mm-hmm. And it's the story of Sully. You get to see that the great moment. It's really cool, I think, to get inside the cockpit of that plane as they go through the bird strike, the plane going down, the rescue was really cool to see that. And then you deal with the doubt and the uncertainty that starts to creep in, as Sully is an instant hero. Did not ask for it.
No.
He is instantly a hero.
Yep.
And the NTSB wants to, maybe he's not a hero. Maybe he's not the guy we think, and he even doesn't really want this.
Maybe it's not our airline. Maybe it's just one person.
Yeah, and what was really interesting to me was how fast it actually happened.
Yeah.
The first time you see the whole ordeal, and from the time the birds hit to the time that they are in the water, it's fast. Like boom, bang, done, and wow, yeah, that wasn't a long, strong ordeal. It was 200-some seconds, and we're in the water.
They replayed it over and over again for you.
That was my big issue with this movie, was it got a little repetitive.
Yeah. You want me to go into it?
Please do.
All right. This movie, that scene is really cool. I really liked how Tom Hanks also, he kept on recollecting or recalling in his head what could have happened. Right. All these other scenarios if he did not land. I'm going to call it crash, because if you don't land on the runway, it's a crash to me.
Hey, everything's unprecedented until it happens.
So, and they couldn't recover the plane. So he crashes into the water, and he could recall all this stuff, but the crash itself is not exciting. And I think Clint Eastwood did a good job at trying to make it seem exciting. I really like the part, like you mentioned, when they're getting rescued and you have the ferries coming out and you have the people that are like, we're going to swim! And they jump out, and those are the ones who are, probably risking their lives the most. That was pretty interesting. The interesting parts of this movie could have been condensed into 40 minutes. I think Clint Eastwood would have been better to add Sully to maybe a 3-parter of one big movie, like maybe a Pulp Fiction type thing, where you had 3 short stories.
Sully's
and just
a
turn it. He could have done the Sully story along with another American hero. I don't think there was a feature length worth of material here.
It's interesting because I had recently rewatched American Sniper and then watched this.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting to me that Clint Eastwood has discovered a formula, and these 2 movies in particular, and I think Gran Torino as well, as I'm replaying it in my head, feel very formulaic now, where about every 20 minutes, he's got to get on the phone with his wife, both films, got to get on the phone with the wife, talk to her, and then you have both characters kind of stare off into space and relive tragic moments in their lives, and then you come back and you snap to, and there's a lot of really similar things. Of course, you have your classic Clint Eastwood cameo in this movie. He always gets a cameo. We get to see a Gran Torino poster in Times Square.
Yep.
He always makes sure to get himself in there. It felt a little bit too repetitive for me. Like, I thought that the cockpit scene was really cool the first time I saw it. It loses its impact every time you show it and reshow it and reshow it. What I did like, though, was I liked the dynamic between he and Aaron Eckhart. I thought that was cool, seeing the bond that they formed. And maybe it's just me, but I'm a sucker for Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks
I believe
is
Tom
an
Hanks.
Excellent actor.
And it's just, yeah, I mean, that's understated. He's just really good, and he falls into these roles really easily.
Yes, he does.
I like that. And so there was part of that I really enjoyed, and part of it was like, yeah, it didn't feel like there was a full story here.
And they tried to break up that crash scene many times where it would show you some parts, and then the next time they would show different aspects, like the stewardess with her bleeding leg and stuff like that. But yeah, and by the time it gets to the end, and they're also repeating over and over and over again what could have happened by their computer simulation.
Right. That's the whole thrust of the investigation.
The character, or the person, Sully, he is not kind of a zinger type guy. He's kind of a guy of like, well, I did my job. So the material wasn't interesting. I think Clint Eastwood did good with what he had.
I thought there was some interesting moments in there. I like, the NTSB is all about the numbers and the data, and Sully's all about his number is 155. Yeah. That's all the soul's on board. That's all I want. That's all I care about. Yeah. They're all alive, right? And so, I'm kind of torn. This was a good movie. Yeah. It wasn't great. Ultimately, what did you give Sully?
I gave it a 3. It was a good movie, but it, like you said, it wasn't great.
Yeah, I gave it 3.5 out of 5. I enjoyed it. I don't know how you could have made it better, though. That's my thing. Is I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't know what you could have done to make it better. It felt like, for what you have to deal with, this was what you could do. So.
I think if he added a little bit more color, he also did the blue filter thing, which really bugs the heck
out of me. A lot of water,
a
lot of blue filter.
Yeah, true. and it gives you that cold feeling because it was a cold time of month, but...
So, let's take a look back real quick for our movie throwback to 1980 about another airplane that is in trouble.
Oh, no.
Might end up in the Hudson. Who knows? We're talking about Airplane, from directors Jim Abrahams and the Zucker brothers.
Yep.
This movie it's high adventure, it's high comedy, it is a joke a second, it is one-liners left and right, it is, this is a classic movie.
Yeah, Zucker brothers. If you know Zucker brothers, you know their material.
With a great cast. I mean, you have Robert Hayes in the lead role as the pilot who's lost his nerve. You have Leslie Nielsen, Julie Haggerty, Lloyd Bridges in the control tower, full of great one-liners. Peter Graves, who is known for Mission Impossible in serious roles, and he has some of the most deadpan, hilarious one-liners.
The same thing with Leslie Nielsen. He used to be a daytime soap guy.
Yeah.
And everybody knows after that, he could not do a serious film to save his life.
You get Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in here.
Oh, yeah.
As Roger. Robert Stack comes in, another very serious guy who is throwing one-liners. My favorite guy, Steven Stucker, he plays a character named Johnny in the control tower, and this movie is so quotable. They're throwing things at you, but my favorite line gets me every single time I watch it is, the fog is getting thicker. And Johnny comes jumping in the screen and goes, and Leon's getting larger. And then he jumps out of frame. I laugh every single time.
My favorite quotes I can't say.
The thing with Airplane is, no matter how many times you watch it, there's always something going on in the background. You have the you have the Hare Krishnas doing things in the airport, and they look in the deep foreground.
You were right when you first said it. There is a joke every second.
Yeah.
It comes at you at a crazy pace. It reminds me a lot of this year's Deadpool, where it's just everything is so bizarre but funny at the same time. Hilarious. It holds up very well
today. It really does. It is an all-time great, and for it could get really dated, and it doesn't. It stays as good as it was back in 1980.
Yeah.
The sequel, not so much.
No.
Airplane 2, no thank you.
I was thinking about popping that in, and I'm like, nah, I don't
get
need
that
to see
taste
that
in your
again.
mouth.
Instead, I rewatched Airplane 1 with all the commentaries, which on Blu-ray you should definitely get. It's really pretty cool.
Go check that out. So Airplane was our throwback this week. Let's take a look ahead to the weekend of September 23rd. We will have 3 movies that will be coming out in the big screen that week. The first one is an animated movie, Storks. Where do babies come from? Well, they come from storks, Michael. Now you know. You don't need to see it because I just told you.
Oh, thank you.
Next up, we have a remake of a classic, The Magnificent Seven, which is a huge cast. And finally, we have a movie, The Queen of Katwe, starring Lupita Nyong'o and some other people, about a girl who's learned to play chess in South Africa.
That looks interesting.
It's really interesting to me. It looks like an Oscar bait type of movie. Before we leave you, we want to thank our sponsor, Marcus Theaters. Thank you for sponsoring the show. We do appreciate it. Of course, if you want to find more from us, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter at Real Reviews TV. We'll get you where you want to go. Go check out ksun.tv to find 126 previous episodes. They're all there waiting for you. But until next week, we're going to be talking about the Blair Witch.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about Bridget Jones's Baby.
Oh,
and
boy.
Snowden.
Yeah, I look forward
That'll all
to
be
it.
next week. But until that time, I'm Jameson.
I'm Mike Roth.
Thanks for watching.